the topic of discussion, and this time around we are talking GMOs. And of course, don't forget, Zabu has made your trading experience very marvelous, as you can buy stocks at Altec Securities at whatever part of the country you are. Star 292 hash, and the magic will start. You can do something new. You can purchase bonds of whatever period of time. It could be a 1-year bond, a 5-year bond with Zabu via Altec Securities. Do something new. Still with Dr. Emmanuel Otala, a member of parliament, discussing, of course, genetically modified organisms. Doctor, yes. Before we went into the break, we were talking about any proposal to pass a bill regarding the usage of our own, like probably prohibiting the use of inorganic related seeds.
Yeah, Andrew, you are spot on. Actually, I'm one of the members of parliament who have written to the Right Honourable Speaker proposing to introduce a bill prohibiting the use of GMO organisms or GMO plants in Uganda. And the reason we are doing this, we are actually being led by the Honorable Nsaba Buturo, is the mover of this motion, or rather the one introducing this bill, and I'm one of the seconders plus many other people, the MP for Kumi, Algon, Silas, the MP, the woman MP for Amudat, and indeed many other people. The reason we are moving on this front is that our neighbor here, Kenya, passed a bill recently allowing for the free use or planting of genetically modified plants, and of course introducing genetically modified organisms in agriculture. And for us, we felt it could have been premature because most of the advanced countries, save for the US, that has championed the GMOs, are quite hesitant about it. In Europe itself, we have well over 300 eminent scientists who have opposed the introduction of GMO within their continent. Now, in Uganda here, we also have our eminent scientists, and I think this is the time they need to come up and be counted. This is the time for them to guide this country on the path to follow. Because we as politicians, I'm a scientist but also a politician, I may be bringing the political aspect at the forefront, whereas there could be quite enormous benefits. But I must say that if you just Google GMO in the internet, you will read thousands and thousands of articles, including peer-reviewed articles from scholars, and you will be amazed at the variance, at the divergence of opinions. Most of the people who support GMOs are mainly focusing on productivity. They are focusing on nothing, productivity, food security. But those who are opposed are talking in terms of agroecology. Can we pursue farming at the same time we protect our environment, for example? They are also focusing on health. Can we pursue farming and have food security and still have our people remain healthy? Because earlier on I talked about the health aspects. Other health aspects include reduced fertility among men and women. Early aging. All those are now being witnessed since the advent of GMO. But I put a caveat earlier on when I said the actual causation has not yet been established, but it is GMO causing early aging. Scientists are still studying them, but at least there is an association that since the advent of GMO, we are now witnessing the following.
Okay.
Could it be that it is the GMO causing cancer cases to rise up, causing the number of diabetes to rise up, leading to obesity, leading to heart diseases, leading to early aging, leading to infertility among men and women. So all these are still being studied. And so that's why for us as members of parliament, we felt we needed to go there with caution. And so we are coming up with this bill
to prohibit
the use of GMO until a time when we feel we are safe enough to introduce it. In fact, that will come out of the various studies being pursued across the world.
Okay.
But of course, I encourage our own scientists here to be leaders. Way back in the 60s, way back in the 60s, Bulago Medical School was a champion in research. One of the cancers was discovered here, and that is one of the cancers that can be cured. Buccal cell lymphoma, for example. So I really encourage our scientists to take up research seriously, because this government has prioritized research. This government has prioritized innovation. This government is sinking in a lot of money to the scientists, to pay them, to remunerate them better, so that they can focus on various research and development issues, including now tackling this GMO.
The GMO.
Yes, I want them to dive in. They should dive in there and guide the country, whether it would be prudent for the country to pursue GMO production.
Well, I remember still before the break, you told me something that was so mysterious about these European countries having our local seeds. And actually, we despite the bill that is prohibiting the growing of inorganic. Let's talk about storage of our indigenous, because do we even have stores for our indigenous seeds?
We don't at all, and that's a mistake. That's a mistake, and the earlier government prioritizes the storage of our seeds, the better for us. As humanity, we can be extinct. We can face extinction if we don't measure up to the competition that GMO is bringing on board. Because, I've already told you that if how many farmers in Uganda, in our countryside, cannot earn 100,000 shillings in a whole year. And if with the introduction of GMOs, you will now be required to buy seeds of $100, say even 50. That is already 150.
That's a lot of money.
And then this crop will not do very well without you spraying.
A specific spray. Specific spray.
Pesticide. That is also money. So you find that is how slowly but surely the African race can become extinct. Yes. So we need to be cautious that, wait a minute, what is it really that the world is pursuing in terms of GMOs? And the argument is not coming only from here in Africa, but it is coming from all over the world.
Let me ask.
Yes.
So it's like majority of the products we consume from the US, since they are the champions of this.
Yes.
They are GMOs.
Oh, definitely, they are.
They don't grow any organic?
No, because you can't compete there if you're growing organic. The organic foods are coming from countries like countries of Africa or elsewhere. But not within there.
Not within there.
Yes. And if you see their trend of obesity, it is alarming.
Very alarming.
It's very alarming.
I've witnessed.
Yes.
Maybe, Doctor, you talked about the aspect of because I want to look at the GMOs. We can say 80% or 95%. They are not accurate, you know. But then our neighbors, Kenya, despite taking the parliament to court, but during that time when the GMOs were introduced in Kenya, you know, how was Kenya's productivity in terms of agriculture output? Because I believe most of the countries which actually use GMOs, the goal behind is export. Produce a lot for them. Okay, there is that aspect of food security, which is okay, but also some look at productivity. I mean, exporting. How has Kenya been, despite taking the parliament to court?
Well, recently, when the parliament of Kenya passed a bill allowing for the growing of GMO plants and the use of GMO organisms in agriculture, other people came up and said, no, this is a bad legislation. It's not in the best interest of our country. And so they have taken the government to court. But before that, Kenya was also hesitant. You see, the way GMOs arrive in our countries without much regulatory mechanisms, I must say that most of our African countries don't have mechanisms for regulating whatever comes into our countries.
Okay.
And so Kenya was cautious, having known that the GMO had been introduced in a number of countries, especially in America, to put a ban.
Okay.
But that does not mean that they did not have GMO organisms or GMO plants within their midst. But they were cautious. They deliberately put a ban so as to say, no, wait a minute, we are not sure whether allowing it wholesale would be the right thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But now with the passing of this bill, they have literally allowed it. They have allowed it. Yes. And so that made us worried that if Kenya has now allowed it, we know the people who hold the patents for these seeds will definitely be interested in our country, Uganda, as the next one. Because they are expanding the market. If they have managed to entrench themselves in Kenya, then Uganda becomes vulnerable. Our people easily cross to go to their relatives in Kenya. We are actually one people, and then they come over. Okay. So they will be bringing those plants, and that's why we believe that we need to prohibit for now. That is our own. But we are going to interact more with our scientists to guide us on the right path to follow.
All right. Yes. Very interesting. Scientists out there, you've been urged to act as examples. Be bold. Just like the scientists in the European countries, they came out and boldly opposed genetically modified organisms. Maybe, Doctor, as we wind up, I guess we are left with about 8 minutes to wind the session up.
Okay.
Let's talk about what is Uganda's current stand regarding embracing GMOs currently as we speak today.
Currently, you know, there was a bill that went to His Excellency the President.
Yes.
A few years ago, and the President did not assent to that bill. And he raised a number of issues that I had already talked about.
Pollination.
One is that GMO would be a danger to our ecology. As I said, that when you begin growing GMO, they have certain characteristics that can make them to annihilate other variety of plants, and so that would eliminate those other plants. But also the aspect of overuse of chemicals and pesticides for agriculture. You see, ultimately that affects the ecosystem.
Okay.
It kills so many worms that cause aeration into the soil, and of course you need air into the soil for the plants to grow.
Definitely.
Yes. So it affects our ecology. It affects the water system. It causes a pollution of our water through the use of those chemicals and inorganic fertilizers. So that was one aspect. But also, to tell you the truth, the president was also worried politically, because he mentioned, I think, 4 things. He said GMOs is a security threat to the country. And when he mentioned security, a security threat.
How?
Because, but I've been elucidating on this.
Okay, putting aside the food security side and the extinction of the population.
Yes.
In which way?
Yes, that is the major thing.
Extinction?
Yes, that's the major thing. The Africans can become extinct.
Okay.
That's a big political tool. You think the developed world, they have been complaining about the large population of the human race.
Yeah, of course.
So they can tactfully do something that will eliminate the black race.
Okay, let's not get into that. Okay, some people always already perceive that, and of course, things might be there, regardless of what they do in that. And looking at Uganda still,
yes,
do we have people that have GMOs, like seed, who are planting those seeds, and how do they even get them?
That is why I say that we don't have proper regulatory mechanisms of ensuring that whatever we want is what gets into our country. Yes. So I have every belief that we have GMO plants in various parts,
and we've consumed some of them.
Definitely. And that is why our bill that we intend to bring up would help us to prohibit, and that means we must find a way of eliminating GMOs wherever they are.
Okay.
Yes.
So how are you going to really do that?
Because the scientists will guide us on how we can identify where they are and get them eliminated.
Okay. Because I believe that's going to be a task.
Of course, that would be the responsibility of each of us to know. I'm a farmer. Do I have GMO in
my garden?
My gardens. And it is now prohibited. What do? I have to destroy it so that you are not infecting our indigenous crops.
So that means I see that you also ought to inform the farmers how does a GMO look like.
Oh yes, definitely. There will be a lot of need for sensitization. And I think this debate now is an eye-opener for everybody, that there is something going on so much that we don't know.
Perfect. True.
In regard to GMOs.
Yes.
And so you as the fourth estate, I believe by inviting me here, you felt, there is something going on. We need to enlighten the public.
True.
But I believe next time invite our scientists from Makerere. There are those also who are for it and those who are against it, so that we can have a thorough, in-depth debate on this matter. Yes. So next time, so that we get a better perspective. I'm now influenced more by the political aspect, looking at the bigger picture of what could happen.
What if this?
Yes. But the scientists can also tell us, other than championing productivity, can't we have food security through our own indigenous seeds? Wow. Doctor,
thank you. It's been really great to have you.
Thank you, brother.
That was quite a great insight. I believe people have gotten something.
Oh, yes.
And have been sensitized regarding that.
Okay.
All right, I've been with Dr. Emmanuel Otala, a member of parliament, and also, of course, a scientist, at the same time discussing, of course, the genetically modified organisms. And of course, we are wrapping up the show right now, and of course, coming up is no comment. And of course, I would love to thank you from where we started from the news recap. That was at 7 a.m. till now, as we are winding up the show with the topical of discussion. And no comment coming up for now. Good morning. How do you normally get feedback?
Yes. He reads. To me, that is the impression I got. He reads a lot. But we all need to.
Smart 24, driving business.
You know the crowd is ready.
Okay, we've got to go live now.
Everyone tuning in to Super Sport.
Welcome all over the world.